What's going on, everybody? Dan here, Warframe. Okay, so I want to showcase my Helios Prime, Deconstructor Prime setup. Finally got it figured out the way I want to. Again, this is, in terms of companions, you basically want to pick the type of companion that fits you. There's no real wrong companion, just as FYI. Any Sentinel, any Kubro, any Cavet, whatever fits your style is the solution for you. Now, so for Helios Prime, I've been playing around with the things bit over bit, okay? And here's where I'm at with it. As you can clearly see, there is a lot of precepts on here. My main focus in terms of mods that you pretty much must have: Enhanced Vitality, Calculated, Redirection. I actually don't even have them maxed. I guess I could max them. Duh. My preference after that is Animal Instinct, just as preference for regular mods. This is entirely focused on however you want to look at it. So I like the Animal Instinct. I could go, with the Sanctuary if I want to. And that helps out when I'm reviving players. But to me, not a big deal based off of how I'm playing anyway, in terms of things. So I actually dropped that one, and I'm sticking with the Animal Instinct. I actually like this. Okay. After that, after those three, it's all about the precepts. The precepts that are for specifically, in this case, Helios Prime. So I've got Investor. Or Investigator, okay, and this is for the things that I haven't scanned fully yet. Important for me to have it up because I hate using the actual scanner if I don't have to. So this is always first. And again, remember with Sentinels, the order of the precepts: top left to right, bottom left to right. So the order of the precepts is how the Sentinel actually reacts to it in terms of things that are going on. After that, I'm going to actually have the targeting receptor, which is the attack piece, if you will. Investigator, I've moved the detect vulnerability as number 3 here. After something's been fully investigated, the vulnerability mod comes into play, and this will show you the weak points of the enemies, thereby helping you out in many, many ways. In this case, I've actually added vacuum. Okay, and I'm liking it on here. Do I have to have it? No. Could I put other things on here? Sure, there's other precepts still out there that I'm not using that I could put on here if I wanted to. In regards to like Guardian, I could put Guardian on here if I wanted to. But specifically when I'm using this with with Oberon, I actually don't want to heal my shield very often because of the way I have my Oberon set up with the Rage. That way I can take that damage and keep my energy pool up. Now, I do like Coolant Leak. I stopped using it for a while, but I'm back to using it again. I like this 3-meter freeze aura. Slowing those enemies down really helps with the crowd control. But even when you're healing people, you're trying to res people, this will help you out in slowing those enemies down that are coming at you, especially if they're like the infested. Okay. The Medi Ray, it's almost a must-have for me on most of my setups now, with the extra 12% health over 4 seconds. Nice to have that reheal at all times. Even when you're running the Rage mod, it's still nice to have that reheal on here. It's just my personal preference. And then finally, at the end, just a regular regen. I could use the Prime regen, which guarantees like 2 revives, but this one is just 1 revive. It's enough. The way my Helios is set up, he doesn't die often. If he dies, he dies. He gets revived when I die, whatever, no biggie. Again, it's all about the precepts that you want to put on your Sentinel. Okay, so 1 Forma is all it took. I think I did an extra V slot or an extra D slot, I should say. And then that's it. I'm happy with the way it lays out. So, moving over to Deconstructor Prime, this one's a little bit different. Okay, so let me see if I can just do this. That way you can see it a little bit better. it's a status build, of course. So I've gotten the status up to 85%, which is more than enough for me. I am using Prime Pressure Point. Okay, not maxed on this one. My maxed Prime Pressure Point is actually on my melee weapons. So the 150 on here is fine. I could, when I get enough to max it up, I'll eventually max it up to that slightly higher. And it'll just increase the stats just a little bit. I found that Condition Overload is really good on here. Okay, so I'm keeping it on there, that extra 60% melee damage for each status type affecting the target. In this case, we've got impact, we got radiation, we got viral, the way that I've set it up. So any of those that impact, I get that extra 60% melee damage from what is already a crazy, insane killing machine, melee killing machine with the Deconstructor Prime. Okay, so I'm using the Virulent Scourge with the Vicious Frost. Okay, and then I'm using Whirlwind here, throw speed, the flight speed I should say. Important. Faster it throws, quicker it hits. You get the whole idea. The extra heavy impact on here that I'm using, just a 90% heavy impact. Could I change this? I could. I could put a whole bunch of different things in here. I could put collision force on here. Okay, that increases it even higher. Right? So 90, you can go up to 120. That's just a matter of throwing in yet another forma if I want to. So we can increase that impact damage even higher at any point. Okay, again, Volcanic Edge, or Volcanic Edge, and Voltaic Strike, or Voltaic Strike, however you want to put it. That's how I'm. These four are how I'm getting my radiation and viral damage in here. But you know, like I said, you could do heavy trauma on there. You could do the collision force. You can even do primed heavy trauma if you want even more on there to really increase that impact of this weapon. And when you're getting into that type of things, you can even say, okay, I've got this much kind of heavy impact on here. If I really want to, I could swap out Whirlwind, reduce the flight speed, sure, throw in Shattering Impact. Shattering Impact, obviously, you know, the impact from the melee attacks reduces the enemy armor. Very, very good in scaling, per se. And this would work out extremely well if I put that on there, because I got that impact that does happen. And then, like I said, I can use, you know, the collision force to increase my impact damage, or I can use prime heavy trauma to increase my impact damage. But every time I get that impact proc, Shattering Impact is going to do its extra job. So I can have this on here if I wanted instead of that Whirlwind mod. For now, I've got Whirlwind on there. I will probably throw in more forma to this just to be able to change things around, to be able to get that prime heavy impact on here. Again, it's just a numbers game. It's just adding more to what is already a major damaging Sentinel. And if you haven't ever really given the regular Helios, or in this case Helios Prime, the time of day, I think you will find that it is an insane Sentinel. One of my favorite Sentinels. Probably my favorite Sentinel. But definitely top out of 2. That's all I gotta say. I don't use a carrier. I don't need to anymore. Now this time around, as you saw, I'm actually putting vacuum on here for now. That may change. I may change that out. But for now, vacuum's been fine. Again, these are just some ideas of things you could do. And really, it just becomes more of how much more former do you want to throw in. Again, you can keep these two on here, these two sets of status chances, or the status items. You can throw that Shattering Impact in there. If I just went ahead and just did this, now this gives me what would essentially be corrosive, okay, if you will, because of the reduction of armor. And I'm getting a solid status out of it anyway. So as you can see, it's just kind of how high do you want to go damage-wise. Really, I mean that's really what it comes down to. Keeping Condition Overload on here, there's no doubt this is one of the best mods to put on the Deconstructor Prime, as it is. Anyway, that's where it's at. Sure, I will have more forma in here. Sure, I will increase my impact damage. Comments, questions, guys. I'll catch you next time. Thanks for tuning in.